Have you ever noticed that when someone compliments you, instead of feeling warm, you feel exposed? Your chest tightens, you deflect it, you joke, you minimize, and later you replay it in your head, not because it felt good, but because it felt dangerous. Why does something positive feel like a threat? On the surface, it makes no sense. Someone says, "You're really talented," or "You handled that so well," or "I admire you." And instead of absorbing it, your mind starts scanning. Do they really mean that? What if I disappoint them next time? What if they expect more now? You might even feel a subtle panic, a pressure to perform, to live up to a version of yourself you're not sure you can sustain. Compliments can feel like a spotlight, and the spotlight doesn't just illuminate your strengths, it illuminates you. For some people, that's affirming. For others, it feels like scrutiny. Psychology has a name for part of this experience: self-concept fragility. Your self-concept is the mental model you carry about who you are, stable or unstable, capable or inconsistent, worthy or barely holding it together. When that self-concept is fragile, positive feedback doesn't land as validation, it lands as pressure, because now there's an image to maintain. Here's the important part. This reaction doesn't mean you're insecure, arrogant, or ungrateful. It means your nervous system has learned that being positively seen comes with risk. Maybe growing up, praise was conditional. You were praised when you performed, when you achieved, when you behaved. And when you didn't, affection shifted. Or maybe attention itself felt unsafe. Being noticed meant being evaluated, compared, corrected. Your brain doesn't separate good attention from bad attention very well. It just tracks visibility. And visibility, at some point, became associated with vulnerability. You're not broken. You're protective. Let's slow this down. When someone compliments you, two systems activate almost instantly. First, the social reward system. This involves dopamine pathways, especially in the ventral striatum. It's the same circuitry that lights up when we feel accepted or valued. But at the same time, your threat detection system may activate. The amygdala doesn't just respond to danger, it responds to uncertainty, to unpredictability. If your internal identity says, "I'm not consistently competent," and someone says, "You're amazing at this," your brain registers a mismatch. In cognitive science, this is called prediction error. Your brain is constantly predicting who you are and how the world sees you. A compliment that exceeds your self-view creates a gap, and gaps feel unstable. So the brain tries to close the gap quickly. How? By dismissing the compliment, minimizing it, attributing it to luck, or preparing to overperform next time. There's also something called self-verification theory. Research shows that people prefer feedback that confirms their existing self-concept, even if that self-concept is negative. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar praise, because praise raises the stakes. If you are now the smart one, you must stay smart. If you are the strong one, you must not fall apart. So the compliment doesn't feel like a gift, it feels like a contract. So how do you work with this without forcing yourself into fake confidence? Here are 4 principles, not hacks, not affirmations, just psychological recalibration. 1. Separate identity from performance. When someone compliments you, mentally translate it. Instead of "I am brilliant," shift to "In this moment, I did something well." This is called a growth-oriented attribution style. It prevents your brain from fusing your identity with a single performance. You are not the compliment. You're a person who sometimes does things competently. That distinction reduces pressure. 2. Notice the threat response without obeying it. When you feel that tightening, that urge to deflect, pause. Label it silently. This is my threat system activating. In neuroscience, this is a form of affect labeling. Studies show that naming an emotion reduces amygdala activation and increases prefrontal regulation. You're not trying to eliminate discomfort. You're teaching your brain that praise is not an emergency. 3. Practice receiving without expanding. Many people think the solution is to fully believe every compliment. That's too big of a jump. Instead, practice neutral receiving. Simply say, "Thank you," and stop. No self-deprecation, no over-explaining, no counter-compliment. This builds what psychologists call distress tolerance. You're expanding your capacity to hold positive attention without needing to control it. 4. Strengthen a stable self-concept. The deeper work is this: build an identity that includes imperfection. If your self-concept is rigid, "I must always be competent," then praise becomes fragile. But if your identity becomes, "I am a learning, evolving human being," then compliments are just data points, not verdicts. One way to do this is through self-complexity. Research shows that people with multiple, diverse self-aspects handle feedback better. You are not just your job, not just your intelligence, not just your kindness. You are layered, and layered identities are harder to shatter. Here's the mental model. Imagine your identity as a glass sculpture. If it's thin and narrow, any spotlight feels intense, any praise feels like heat that could crack it. But if your identity is a wide, flexible structure, like woven fibers instead of glass, light can land on it without breaking it. Compliments are not the problem, rigidity is. The goal isn't to crave praise, it's not to depend on it, it's to let it pass through you without distorting who you are. The next time someone compliments you, notice what happens inside. Notice the urge to shrink, to laugh it off, to escape the spotlight. And instead of fighting it, just stay. Let yourself be seen for a few extra seconds. Not because you have to become the perfect version they describe, but because you are allowed to exist in someone else's positive perception without turning it into pressure. Being seen doesn't have to mean being evaluated. It can simply mean being witnessed. And slowly, your nervous system can learn that light is not the same thing as danger. You don't have to become bigger, just more stable. And stability is built quietly.